Air and water. Learning about air. Take a deep breath and the sound should come across. Hum. It's a great morning and there's nothing like a fresh breath of air. You may have guessed what we are studying about today. Right, we are going to be studying about air. The earth is surrounded by a thick layer of air, and it covers many kilometers. It's almost as there is an ocean of air above the earth. We call this vast ocean of air as the earth's atmosphere. The atmosphere is a part of our wonderful earth, and as the earth moves, so does the atmosphere. Air is a wonderful mixture of gases, and these gases are useful to plants and animals alike. There are quite a few gases present in the air, but the main gases are nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, and water vapor. Information. Have you wondered how the air that surrounds the earth or the atmosphere does not escape into space? Well, the force of gravity prevents the air from escaping into space. The moon does not have an atmosphere because the gravitational force on the moon is 1/6 times lesser than that of the earth. So even if the moon had some sort of atmosphere, it would have leaked into outer space. Astronauts on the moon have to use radios to talk to each other as there is no air to carry sound. All living things breathe air as long as they live. Along with land animals and plants, we breathe in air to get very important oxygen. Fish and other aquatic animals breathe in the oxygen dissolved in the water. When we breathe in, the blood in the lungs uses the oxygen in the air taken in. The blood takes this oxygen to all the cells in the body. In the cell, the oxygen is used to burn food and produce energy. As a result of this burning of food, carbon dioxide is produced, and this carbon dioxide is brought back to the lungs by the blood, and we breathe it out as expired air. So the air we breathe out is expired air. So what's the air we breathe in? That's right, it's inspired air. Inspired air is rich in oxygen. The air we breathe out, or expired air, contains more of carbon dioxide. Expired air is warmer and more moist. The inspired air contains 79% nitrogen, 20% oxygen, 0.03% of carbon dioxide, and variable water vapor and temperature. Expired air contains 79% nitrogen, 16% oxygen, 4.5% of carbon dioxide, and saturated water vapor. The temperature of the air is the same as the body's temperature. So we are able to see that the body uses oxygen from the air inspired and in expiration releases carbon dioxide. The process of breathing in oxygen to burn food in the tissues to give energy and breathing out carbon dioxide is called respiration. So plants and animals use oxygen and give out carbon dioxide during respiration. There is one important friend that helps us keep our environment and our air fresh. Green plants. Green plants use carbon dioxide from the air along with water from the soil to produce food. So plants actually clean up the carbon dioxide which we release in respiration so that we always have a fresh supply of oxygen. Isn't our world made with everything in mind? Let's discover a bit more about respiration with a small experiment that you could actually do it in your lab later on. We know that the plants and animals use oxygen in the air for respiration. Let us find out whether green plants actually release. We have a glass beaker. We have filled it with water. We have placed a small aquatic plant. Here we have the hydrilla plant. We have covered this plant with a funnel and placed an inverted test tube filled with water over this funnel. Since we have placed the test tube filled with water, there is no air inside the test tube. We leave this beaker in the sun for a while. We see that tiny bubbles will be rising in the test tube. If we test the air that was in the test tube, we will find that it was oxygen. So plants make oxygen in making their food. Experiments are fun, right? Let's try one more experiment. We have learned that oxygen forms about 20% of the air. So oxygen forms the active part of the air. Nitrogen forms about 79% of air. And this is the inactive part of the air. Let's do this experiment to find out the active part of air and the inactive part of air. We have a basin filled with water. We take a white-mouthed glass and mark it into 5 equal. Now we place a candle in the basin and light it. We now invert the glass and carefully place it in the basin of water over the candle. We see that the edges of the glass are on 2 pieces of wood so that water can pass inside freely. Let's observe what happens. The candle burns for a while and then goes off. But hello! Look at the water. The water level rises to the first level we marked on the glass. This means that oxygen was the active part of air, and this oxygen was 1/5 of the air as the water rose to the first mark. Ever wondered why nitrogen forms nearly 70% as an inactive part of the air? Why couldn't it be 70% oxygen? Scientists say that if oxygen was more in the percentage, it may have been very easily for things to catch fire, as oxygen is a very combustible gas. Isn't everything in nature so balanced? Summary: air and water. We have been learning about air, breathing and respiration. Keep learning.